All right, hey guys, we are back. Whoa, we are back. Whoa, we are back. We're gonna work on now what happens when you run out of space or when you run out of oxygen. But when you run out of space in the cage and, and you get trapped against the fence, okay? And obviously, for a striker is why distance management is such a huge principle that we talk about in level 1, to be able to manage your distance. We talked about it in the last video, how to defend, the jab and the double leg using your frame and simply using your footworks and using counter strikes. All right, but now, let's say I haven't done my job and Dave got me to this, inside this, there's that black line on the octagon that, once you get there, all my strikers know you gotta keep it moving, you gotta keep your feet moving. But obviously Dave gets me here, he's done his job of cutting me off, right? So now we're gonna work the jab to the double leg. Actually, let me do it on you, and then Coach Dave's gonna go over the defense.
All right, so one thing, the cage changed a lot of things. A lot of guys you see when you're shadow boxing stuff, you're training to sprawl like this and just jumping to the ground and getting your hips down. So every time you're shadow boxing and you're practicing sprawling, all you're thinking about is getting your hips to the ground and getting back up to your feet. That's great and that's cool, but that means that this guy already beat all of our defenses like we talked about in the previous video. So even when the guy gets to our hips, we want to meet him with our hips and then start to make space, not just dive our hips away. A good wrestler is going to be able to sit through and finish that takedown. So we want to stop his momentum. The same thing is going to happen even when he walks me down to the fence. When he shoots, I want to be squaring up my stance here anyway, and as he comes into me, I'm going to meet him with my hips. Once I meet him with my hips and I stop his momentum, I'm going to turn towards his head and whizzer this arm. So turn towards his head, whizzer the arm. When I do this, I want to make sure that I can spread my legs out as wide as possible and make sure that he can't lock his hands behind me. I'm then going to push his head down, and once I push his head down, I'm going to circle towards the side of his head. So I'm going to start to change my hips and circle towards the side of his head so I can sprawl out here. Once I sprawl out here, this gives me a good opportunity to be able to go around to the back and get into a good spiral ride position while he's pinned against the fence. So it'll be me pinning him into the fence, and I have a good counter to his takedown. As you're moving backwards towards the fence, like we were just talking about, you start to see that black line in the octagon or whatever cage you're fighting in. We always talk about finding a sticker on the ground. Not everybody has a black line. But you find a sticker on the ground, or you go to the center of the cage and you count your steps back, and then you know, hey, 2 steps, I got to circle. Once I get to that spot where I need to circle, I'm going to start to square my stance up just a little bit and be ready for this takedown, and also so that I can circle. So as I'm moving back, by the time I'm here, I should be pretty square. When he hits me with this takedown, I want to meet him with my hips and then turn towards his head. Push his head down and circle to the head side. Circle, sprawl, and now I go to his back. When I go to his back, I'm taking a hand, forearm, covering his head, blocking this arm. You can block the arm. We can drag through the armpit, whatever it is that you want to do. And this is a great opportunity for this. Get around here, get into a good spiral ride position, and start to put some good ground and pound on it. That's if you want to stay down. If you don't want to stay down and we get into this position here, I can always just keep my weight on, keep my hips down, push off, circle back out to the center. That's an option. It's up to you. It depends on the game plan of the fight, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. But pay attention to, even if you have a really side stance and you're out in the center of the cage, that's great. As you scoot back towards the cage, you got to start to square your stance a little bit. Be ready to move in either direction or turn in either direction to defend the takedown. Meet him with the hips, turn towards his head, whichever way that is. Stuff the head, circle to the head side, then we're going to sprawl. Sprawl, put your hips down on them. Once we get here and we have our hips down on them, we're going to go around to the back or push off and stand up. biggest details there are, don't be like this on the fence. You're gonna get taken down. This type of an offense, your number one defense is your footwork and your movement. You have nowhere to go. We need to start to square up, be ready to go in either direction. Watch our videos on moving out, circling out.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna give props to Dr. Gloves on the dot
That's it.
drill,
Go to
guys.
the
Level
dot
one.
drill on the YouTube
Footwork.
channel.
Yes.
Circling out one way or the other, or having the whizzer one way or the other, and you're ready to go. Knead them with the hips, whizzer, stuff the head, circle, sprawl and get up, or go in a spiral right position, try to shove them into the cage, work some ground and pound. This can go the same way. Drilling, one thing about drilling, if we do it one time, don't be like a wet noodle when you're drilling, whichever partner that you are. Just because he's the one that's shooting and I'm the one who's actually doing the drill, it doesn't mean that I'm the one doing all the work and he's doing nothing. He's still gonna try to take me down, but he may only be trying at 40 or 50%, just enough to give me some structure to work around. So once you do that, you go 1 for 1, set a clock, do a 3-minute round. He does every takedown every time, or 1-minute goes are very tough when you really pick up the pace. The less time you have, the higher the pace. So if you're just beginning and learning, take the 3 or the 5 minutes and take the time, slow it down 20, 30%, and do 10, 20, 40, 50 reps a piece in each round. As you get better, you can have the guy get into the deep double on the cage and do a 1-minute go really hard, go close to 100%, but we're still gonna allow the guy to work and learn the move. You have to create those neural pathways and actually do the move correctly over and over and over again. It's not just practice, it's good practice, deliberate practice. We also have a couple of good videos on the YouTube page as well about coaching with Dr. Paul Gavoni, so you check those out. And he'll talk more about deliberate practice and being a deliberate coach and doing things for a reason. It's not always hard work, it's smart work.
That's right. Host.